This is the Steampunk Airship, containing 1,949 pieces. Thank you to Pantasy for sending this set for my review. Per the standard, the set comes with an instruction manual and numbered bags for an easy building experience. Or is it easy? Bag 1 starts you off with a Technic build for the stand, but then you quickly switch over to a system build with a bunch of colorful plates and bricks. The hull of the ship is secured to the stand by 4 cross axles, and this is how the internal structure of the envelope or balloon is constructed. The side plates that make up the balloon are full of decorative prints. They look nice, but were a bit difficult to attach due to difficulty in finding a place for your other hand to push back from the underside. These 8 sub-assemblies would help give the balloon its oval shape and are clipped into place. Be careful with this last assembly not to push too hard. To see it all come together is a very satisfying reward for your efforts. I like how these rope ladders are built and have tension, as it looks neat and tidy that way. However, these strings do not, but it's an easy fix if you rotate the studs on the ends of the wires. Attaching the drive mechanism to the side propellers was difficult, as you needed to bend some pieces. The little bit of difficulty that's experienced in the build is quickly forgotten when you're looking at the end result. The end result is good, and I'm blown away by its level of detail. The build was a balance of Technic and system, and therefore you have a nice balance of aesthetics and function. I'll show you the function later on, but first I'm going to go through the aesthetics. I'll place the 5 figs throughout the ship while looking at the build, and then later on give you a closer look at them. There are no parts of this build that are intended to be removed, but you still have access to put figures on the deck of the ship here, and even attach them to the rope ladders. I was a tad bit disappointed when I learned that you can't take off the stand, as I thought that'd be pretty cool to fly this around without the stand. But when picking this up, I realized that it's probably not a good idea to take it off the stand because this is top heavy. It's very heavy up here. There's a lot into that build. But even on the stand, I mean, you can rock this back and forth and have a little bit of play with it that is flying through the air, experiencing some rough weather. So I was a tad bit disappointed, but I'm okay with it. The deck of the ship is dark red, while the hull is dark brown, and all of those colorful pieces that we used early on to help ease the building experience are all well hidden. You don't see any of those colors showing through. The hull has very nice decorative details printed on. There's all prints in this set. There's absolutely no stickers. And like all of the gold highlights to give it that cyberpunk feel and make it feel elegant. We get to side propellers. They're identical, obviously, like the silver metallic painted studs, more gold painted elements as well. Coming to the back of the ship, you've got this elevated portion suggesting a captain's quarters, but in reality, there's gears inside. More gold printed elements, including cupcake piece, wing, some decorative railing pieces, handcuffs, and this wheel element making up that back propeller. This side has a knob sticking out, but I don't think that detracts from the appearance and definitely adds a lot to the play value where the function's built in. Over here we've got a golden window, and then everything else on this side is pretty much the same. Sorry as I'm not nautically inclined to tell you all the names of the parts of the ship, but I think this front end looks nice. Steering wheel turns, so the captain can control. And here's the boiler that's powering this ship, and a pile of coal sitting out in front. Some of these balloon segments can be pushed in a bit too far, so you have to be mindful of that. Not all of them, though. Some of them just are stay into place where they should. Really admire the shaping of this balloon and the level of detail, the greebling, the printed elements, gold and silver metallic elements. There's even propellers up here that you can manually spin around. Not to mention the giant propeller that's situated in between the 2 tail fins. The tail fins are printed on both sides. They're kind of like a paper material, I guess. And then up above it all is the smokestack positioned at this angle with black and gray smoke coming out of it. Got this engine up here. Again, a lot of detail throughout. There are 4 of these printed gold wings that can be adjusted, so you can imagine that they're used to help make turns or adjustments in altitude. Underneath those wings are a slew of gear elements. Now let's get to the function. Here we go, the most satisfying feature of the build. You turn this knob, and look at all of that movement. The big propeller in the back, the side engine propellers are spinning, a lot of gear movement, and the tail fins as well, with just one turn of the knob. It's easy to do too. There's not too much friction involved. And then you just rock the ship, turn the knob, and wow, it's a great look. Let's take a look at the motion from different angles. I can imagine this function would be easy to motorize as well. These side propellers, you can actually spin them freely on your own. This is Pantasy's newest figure design. To have 5 figures included in this set feels really generous. They really didn't have to include any, maybe 1, 2, or 3, but 5 is awesome. We've got the pilot, the captain, the explorer, the engineer, and then 2 travelers. The figs are decorated with a lot of detail. Typically, I don't like the eye design, but these eyes don't look all that bad to me. Really love the molds of the heads and the hair and hat pieces. They're kind of cute. It's a bit tough balancing this figure with the large hair piece, but attach her to some studs and it's no problem. Though their legs cannot articulate and there's no attachment points on the back, you can swap them out with these legs that have a sitting pose and an attachment point. However, in this set, there's really not many places to sit down. I appreciate the inclusion of these extra pieces though, and I do have an idea of where they can sit. The Steampunk Airship has landed at the Opera. I think these two look great side by side. Even though they're not part of the same collection, this has a lot of steampunk vibe going on. And this Opera set includes 5 figures as well, but it's still not enough to fill up the auditorium. So I've brought in the figures of the Steampunk Airship. That is so cool. There's still 5 seats open, which is perfect if you have the 5 new Sherlock Holmes figures. I really like the recent product selection from Pantasy. Speaking of which, this is the 3rd installment to their Steampunk collection. There's also a clock tower and railway station. Now, to be honest, I'm not a steampunk fan. However, this set changed me. I'm going to quickly cover some pros and cons of the airship, starting with the cons because it's a smaller list. There were some difficult connections in the building process, and you can't remove the airship from the stand. That's it. Those are the cons. The pros heavily outweigh the cons here, as the appearance in detail is impeccable. The decorations are all done with prints. It's impressive. And so is the functionality, being able to just turn this knob and move so many parts. Playability is there, as well as role play and storytelling with the 5 figures included. That's a generous selection of figs. This set retails for $140 on Pantasy.com and Amazon, so great price for the size of this set. Well, that concludes my review. More Pantasy reviews coming soon. Thanks for watching. We're experiencing heavy turbulence. Brace yourselves for impact.